think they would want to disrupt. this
Recording in progress.
meeting, to keep some
Okay, good
kind of
evening.
peace.
I think this is working. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, January 15th, 2026. We're just going to begin, we're going to do things a little differently. We're going to start with COCs and get people onto other meetings if they need to go. So we're going to begin with SC 832270, BSC for Channel Point LLC, 2 Channel Point Drive. And this is a COC, so we just start with Brittany and her comments and from there.
I'm going to give a quick background for this project because the COC has some involvement with a previous permit, if that's okay. So in 2015, a separate permit was issued for site work. They got an extension, and a second extension request was denied because of unpermitted cutting on the coastal bank vegetation. The commission had some buffer plantings required, which they did install. Invasive species management plan was also requested. They did invasive species treatment for a single season, and it was noted in the COC that ongoing invasive species management must continue under an approved management plan, but none was ever received. In 2021, a separate notice of intent was submitted for regrading and stabilization of the coastal bank. The order was issued including monitoring twice per season, additional species planting if stabilization was not reached, and ongoing invasive species management. In 2021, BSC did a monitoring report noting work completion, but some deviations from the approved plan, noting that the plastic compost sock was installed and they recommended replacement with a biodegradable core log and planting the lower bank with a mix of salt and marsh grasses that were better suited to the site than beach grass, but this was not initially completed. Fast forward to 2023, we received the first COC request. It was denied since erosion was still active on the site, and the bank was not stabilized. Next steps were submitted to the applicant, and they completed most of the items in the next steps, but repositioning of the silt sock wasn't completed, and there are some plugs that have not been stabilized. So I can show you some photos, and Kieran is aware of everything I said. They did request a continuance, but I suggested they come, and here they are. So Kieran, if you wanted to comment on any of that.
I guess the first thing is we did request a continuance so we could get out to approximately the first week in May to see if the plugs would take. The plugs were put out there, and some of them were popped right out of the ground again. It's in a difficult area, so they were having an issue with the plugs being maintained. But one of the biggest things is that the plastic coir roll that we put in, one of the reasons it wasn't taken out is that even though it looks plastic, it is biodegradable. It's a different type of plastic, and we have information on that to submit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, plastic by itself is obviously not something we want, but this is a biodegradable looking plastic fiber roll. And that's one of the biggest issues we had out there. We did meet with Brittany and the former chairman at Hoops out there about a year ago, and we did discuss the project, and one of the things was that we would do more damage than good by removing the roll that was in there, because it was, you can see where it is. There's no easy way to get that out. It was pulled back in somewhat and seems to have been damaged again. It's just a difficult area where we have icing and tide hitting it on a constant basis. So, but all that being said, we would like to have a continuance to relook at things, get some additional information in there. Some of my staff were out doing inspections last year, so we do have some reports that we can submit. So we'd just like to go back and gather some additional information, which I think will help the Commission with their decisions, and probably look for continuance to the first meeting in May.
Okay. Before I say anything, anybody have any comments or questions? Okay. I see none. I'm wondering whether before you redo anything and it doesn't come back, I'd like to see a plan a proposed solution in writing by March 5th or so that we can approve a plan that was somewhat ignored in the original agreement.
Were you thinking of doing any planting prior to the May 7th date, or just continuing to see how it looks?
I haven't had a chance to talk to my client about this. That's one of the reasons we asked for the continuance.
Okay.
There is a possibility of that. One of my wetland scientists will go back and visit the site and see if there's a place where we can do it. I don't know plants, so I'm not going to even think to say to the board that I know what we're going to do if or not do out there. So, but I'll have one of my wetland scientists go out and figure out what should be done.
I think that would be good for us to,
review something from from your team. I would only request that they do submit that invasive species management plan that was required previously, so that if these aren't addressed, it's going to continue to erode in that area.
Which my client obviously does not want. So we will spend the money to do the invasive plantings of mitigation.
Okay.
so would March 5th be,
March 5th should be fine.
okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not clear. Are you removing the invasive species? You mentioned before there was something difficult to get to, so.
That was the fiber roll, that was not the invasive species.
Okay, so
The silt
that's,
sock that's out there.
Which you can see in that picture down the bottom.
and you can't get to it. Okay. All right, thank you for the clarification.
Anybody else? So I'm gonna make the motion on this, and someone else can second it, and that would be to continue to March 5th, just to get a new proposed solution, and then we'll continue after that to so we get this done correctly. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Second from Bradford. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. Thank you,
Thank you.
and thank you for sliding this up to the beginning. I do
I met
appreciate
your brother today. It reminds me a lot of you.
Okay, so nothing to sign. Okay. Next order of business is, SE 832337 Edward Stone, 34 Lindale Road. Again, we're gonna listen to Whitney first, and go from there.
It's a flood zone only project for redevelopment of a site. The initial permit plan showed some patio and stoop parking area, which are all a little bit larger than proposed. Again, it's flood zone only, but the only issue that I currently have is that the original order said that no vegetation, including trees, were to be removed, but it appears that about 6 canopy oak trees were removed. So I would recommend to the commission to consider requirement for replacement trees and continue the COC request until those are either in place or established. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions? So as you can see from the picture on the left is what it was before, and the picture on the right is what it is now. So you can see they took down about 6 trees. Is that what we estimate?
Yes.
About 6?
You're right on target, yep.
Yeah.
One tree was sitting over where the leaching field was, which is on the, right where your mouse is.
Okay.
Yep, we had to take that one out.
Yeah.
The ones that were done by almost unknowingly me going, yeah, sure, were the others that were scrub pines that would have been in the way of, the house was a modular house, so they were lifting it with a crane and putting it on the foundation, which would have been 2 of the trees in the back, right where Brittany's mouse, up a little bit more. Other trees were my discretion, and we haven't even started the plantings yet all we did was save enough to do the grass and cut the gardens out. But we have two, and this is where I need your advice, two dogwoods on order for a personal reason, two people passed away in our family, if they're not invasive or if they are okay to put up. One's gonna go in the circle just to the corner of the house, that cutout right there, and one is gonna go towards the road, right there. And we have a Japanese maple that will go in the shadow of the tree right down in front, right there. But we would be open to, as Joe mentioned to me, what species I should put in. Because it looks like a football field. And and my wife and I would really like to put trees in. So now that we're being called attention to, hey, by the way, you guys took a few more trees out than you should have, I would love it. I would love suggestions, because it looks too open.
Well, typically, when you take out oaks, we love to have oaks put back because oaks are great for the habitat.
Yep. Do people put in scrub pines too, or did you guys do that?
We don't usually prefer to replant pitch pines. They
Oh, all right,
have a
okay.
taproot and they
Just wait
don't
long
plant
enough,
well.
they'll come.
Well, because she had mentioned it too. She said, well, I wouldn't have minded a few of the scrub pines brought back, even though most people are taking them out because they're,
If you wanted an evergreen type looking plant, we would always recommend eastern red cedar over a pitch pine.
okay.
But definitely see some oaks go back in would be my preference.
Would we be able to talk to, because I had a good conversation with Joe, and he was mentioning a few things about what to put in and he didn't use the word indigenous. He used the word,
Native?
thanks, native to what you guys want on the Cape now. And I said I would love the suggestions. So could I contact the office and find out?
Yeah, absolutely, unless the commission picks right now.
Oh, yeah, oh, good, all right, yeah. Bushes as well, if you could.
Anybody have
Hydrangeas,
any
some?
Comments or for
Well, I'm a fan of pine barrens, but I'm outnumbered.
I mean, just the pitch pines are hard to plant, just
Yeah.
logistic-
Oh, that was the thing I just said,
logistically. White pines, you could try white pine or oaks, but if you have two dogwoods on plan, I would recommend the other four be oaks, but the commission can decide.
Well, anybody else? Go
Say-
ahead, Paul.
Yeah, this is a request for a COC, so would the COC be postponed until
Yeah.
plantings were done? Okay.
It would be postponed till 2027 to give the 2
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Am I right?
My only issue, and I don't know how I handle this, is I'm going for a loan on the house because I paid for it myself to pay certain things back. And as you know, you talked to Peter, my loan agent, and he needs a COC to close out the loan. Is there some sort of stipulation that you guys do with a penalty if I don't plant them, but yet still get the COC?
I have to ask Brittany.
You can do an ongoing condition requiring care and survival until a certain date.
I'd be fine with that. And I can, if you, kind of like a parole officer, I'll keep reporting in pictures and whatnot.
We can submit an annual report if the commission so requires.
Yeah.
Let me see what. Yeah, typically there's a space for ongoing conditions. And you can usually reference an original condition.
Let me make some
I can
notes
look for
on
one to
trees.
reference, otherwise I can write it in, that the replacement trees be cared for until 2028 and established in perpetuity.
So would that mean that the COC would be issued with that condition?
I would still recommend continuing until they're at least planted.
Sure.
I'm sorry, what did
It's
what did
open
you
to the
say?
ongoing survival condition. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry. What did you say about the birch trees? Those are acceptable as replacement for the oaks?
No, I didn't, did I say?
Dogwood,
I mean
Dogwoods,
dogwood,
yeah.
sorry. did you, you said they were acceptable for replacement of the
It
oaks?
could be.
Are they Cosa dogwoods?
Yeah, they would have to be Cornus, Florida. Yeah.
Okay, let's go, guys. Ready? I'm writing shit down.
They're in this native species list, so I can send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. All we did is say pink and white. One was for my brother that passed, and the other one was for my wife's sister that passed. So all we did was judge it on that. And then Bassini Landscaping said, do you want, and he starts saying words like that. And I'm like, I have no idea. As long as the top's pink on one and the top's white on the other.
So there's different species of dogwoods.
Okay.
The Cosa dogwood is actually a Asian species, and there are, without going into scientific names, there's some species that are native to the U.S. If they were native to the U.S., which I think based on the colors they might not be, I would prefer the plantings to be natives. So if they are Cosa dogwoods, I wouldn't count them as part of the 6, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'll do, it doesn't matter to me because I need trees on that lot. And
So
dying to put stuff up.
yeah, so that's just my opinion, but I'd like to see 6 oaks being replaced back just because they are those large canopy trees.
As far as where I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but as far as where I plant them, do they get really big that I should watch where I plant them? And I know I'll get this information from my landscaper.
Yeah, oak trees will get large. They're a canopy tree, so they get to be one of the tallest, but they are also one of the most ecologically beneficial.
Right.
So it
Probably gonna help
it's
with my heating and
something
AC
that we
bill
like.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, not to take up too much time, but could I split the uprights with native dogwoods and oaks combined? Instead of all 6 being, because one of them was taken out because of the septic system, which should have been accounted for.
I'll let the other commissioners weigh in.
What do you guys feel?
Anybody?
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm sorry for your loss, and I
Oh, no, thank you.
I respect that planting, but I'm concerned about the canopy loss, and I just, to keep it simple, in that you have the land, why we can't replace the 6 in kind with oak trees, just period. And whatever you choose will, other than that, would have to be, reviewed as well, but I really strongly believe that the 6 should be replaced in kind with oak, or the canopy. It's a loss in canopy, and that's the importance.
So would you guys say that I should put them more out towards the perimeter? So, like, for example, where to the left of the driveway, there was a big open area. And then have them kind of cascade up to the left? I don't think there's much room on the right to put one without.
I don't really,
My
yeah,
neighbor.
as long as your landscaper makes sure that they're planted far enough apart from each other.
To grow, yeah.
Yes.
Get away from the septic
Still be
system.
room for the 2 dogs?
Right.
That's-
I feel like that would be hard.
Requires 6. Christian thinks it would be hard to fit in the 2 dogwoods, so I'm not a landscaper, so I have no idea.
Same, but just a general feel, I feel like that would be difficult.
I think there's plenty of space.
I'm sorry, what?
I think there's plenty of space on the site.
Could do it.
Yeah, the 6 that were removed were significantly close together. Sorry, get back to my aerial. which I lost.
Excuse me, would a 6-inch caliper be the minimum,
We usually do 2-inch.
2-inch? Okay.
does that
The
mean?
larger they are, the more difficult they are to keep alive.
So the 2-inch diameter trees?
So when you plant them,
Oh, I was like, wow, that's a small tree. So when we plant them, the 2-inch ones, and they grow to whatever they end up at.
yep.
So the septic is where the shadow of the house is. So I would go further out towards the road and then down towards that open area. Does that sound like a good plan?
I don't have a preference where they go on the lot, as long as they go back in. Does the commission agree with that? Okay.
I think that's up to you and your.
Yeah, you and your landscaper can figure out wherever you want to put them. That makes sense and fits with your,
Here's a 50,000, so I'm putting hydrangeas in as well. Are those okay to put in?
hydrangeas are okay in the foundation beds. Yeah,
Those black, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we're putting them.
yes.
One more question, if I put an oak in that circle to the left of the house, is that suicide?
I'd talk to your insurance company about that.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna be a lot of years before it grows up to be in front of, your house, but we don't want it to grow up and then you have to come and cut them down and ask us again for more
True,
permissions.
yeah, so give myself a running
Even though I
start.
won't be here at that time, but,
Oh, stop.
Yeah, so planting season is best in spring before mid-June, so I'd say continue to the first meeting in June. Does that sound good for planting? Or you think you can do it in May, April?
I can probably do it, I'll ask Sebastian Passini, because I wanna do it when it's the best, that I'm not gonna kill the things.
right. Won't do too
So
early.
if he says, geez, no, let's wait till June, or no, we can get them right in April and we're no worse for the wear, I'll be fine with that too.
All right, let's continue to the second meeting in May then,
Be May 21st,
21st.
so we'll continue,
So you need a motion to continue with your requirements.
okay.
I move to continue SE 83-2337 to May
First.
21st. Thank you, I can't read.
And second, Jack. Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay, great. If you have any questions, Brittany and Joe are there for you.
Yeah,
They're great.
that's awesome.
They're great to answer things, so,
Send you the list of oaks that are approved.
Oh, good, yeah, that'd be great, yep.
Yep.
And I can talk to both you guys about their size and what they should be when I start off and where they will be when they get bigger.
Sounds good.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing to sign there. Moving right along.
What else is more?
The next one is, where am I? SE 832339, 14 Whale Road. Susan, I hope I can pronounce this right, Wujorner. And,
Right, so this was an order of conditions for redevelopment of a house and appurtenances within the 35-foot buffer to a coastal dune on Great Island. The majority of the work was completed according to the plans, with the exception of some gravel area, a rinse station, and some walkways were put in a location that was not on the approved plan. To me, it is unclear if this led to an increase in coverage. The original project had a decrease in coverage overall of about 140 square feet. So I would recommend to the commission to request a table showing the square footage, as long as it is still a decrease or the same square footage as the original house. I would recommend issuance of the order. But if it's not, there may be some additional mitigation plantings required, or any as the commission sees fit. But so the original plan had the rinse station over by the gravel driveway. There are some red cedars over there that maybe caused them to change their mind about where that was going, and it ended up going on the eastern side, which was within the original work limit line, but not in an approved location. There's also some additional gravel on the pathways around, which abut directly to the coastal dune. So here's the backyard, which just goes straight into the dune. Everything's really tight back there. And it was unclear to me whether the mitigation plantings were installed, just because there were so few required, and I really couldn't tell what was natural there and if something was planted. So that's what I'd recommend, asking for a table of hardscape to compare to the original permit
So you want a table of approved?
versus implemented.
Okay.
The, Dan from Down Cape. So I did just double check. I would argue that the gravel, we were required to put a drip edge around this thing. The drip trench is required, and that's really all that is. It's just a, it's a very inert wash stone to let the roof runoff go into the ground. If you don't count those areas, which I would say shouldn't be counted, the overall project still went down 380 square foot of hardscape in the 0 to 100. The 50 was, 0 to 50 was near a wash, maybe went up a tiny bit, but, as Brittany said, all the work was within an existing fenced area, and then to save a couple of trees, they did flip the rinse station over. The site is very natural out front. I didn't really recall us doing any mitigation planting. I know back in the day, there was a house way out front here in the dune, and they restored that whole area. Moved the house, retreated all the way back to where it is today. That was in '93, and now we're just, kind of shaving a haircut on the building. But some of those areas might have, not taken as perfectly as a natural dune. But the whole front is very, very nicely maintained natural. But those are the numbers. It's maybe 200 square foot more than it was, but still 380 square foot net down on the hardscape. If you need us to come back, we could, but if there's any way based on that or a letter follow-up giving you those numbers, I'd be happy to provide it.
Okay, and were you able to calculate that, or is that just based
There was a CAD calculation
Okay.
for the as-built numbers, so that's precise.
And the only thing I forgot to mention is that the erosion control is still in place. It would be a condition if the commission decides to approve that needs to be removed.
Sure. Sometimes we wait, but
You forget about it, it erodes most of the way.
yeah, happy to do that. Again, it's a much better site than it used to be. Everything was pulled back, and it's very natural. So hopefully, with that kind of a de minimis change, we could let it go. If you approve it contingent upon me putting a letter in the file with the square footages that it went down 380 square foot instead of the 424, I think maybe that would do it.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Anybody have any comments about approving the COC pending the letter of file?
Could you review that, please? Just again, what's the letter gonna say?
So right now, we're expecting
24 square foot of
instead of
decrease.
380.
Well, I'm sorry, net, well, yeah, there was two different numbers. 424 was the 50 to 100, so it's 586 versus the 380. So it's about 400 square foot down instead of a little over 500. But again, it's all within the work limit line. It's a very natural site. I think they're pretty good stewards of the land overall. Hopefully, we could just let that go as they moved it over just to save some cedars. That's the only reason I'm sure that rinse station moved, and it was slightly more footprint, but it was all within an existing fenced area. It's all within the work limit line. So it seems to me to be fairly de minimis, but that would be the request.
I just wanted more clarification that for the record,
Sure.
that the letter include a matrix, if you will, or, so that we can see where the net came from.
Be happy to do it. And again, this site is very unique in that there's a huge house pulled all the way out of the dune, and the whole dune was restored and retreated back. So that's kind of a specialty on this site. But glad to do it.
Paul? Yeah, just one other question, and maybe I'm just missing it. And what are you gonna do about the rinse station that's in the wrong location?
Well, what we would argue, it's a superior location where it is now, and just leave it. Because, again, they moved it just to save a couple of red cedars into an area that was already fenced yard. So it's kind of I would say it's a de minimis situation, and you could just approve it as differing site conditions.
But do we,
There is something here, though, that was in the location of the rinse station. What is this?
I'd have to double check.
There's the generator on a raised pad, and then,
Yeah, it might be the control panel for it. I'm not sure.
okay. I don't
It's,
think that appears on the as-built plan.
Not a sauna or anything. What a sauna.
No, we've got a rinse station near the house. That's a generator and, yeah, it looks like a control panel. It looks big, but it's just a thin board in the section view. It's hard. It shows up right next to the generator as just like a thick line. So that's all it is. It's just something to mount the panel up above the base flood.
and there was noted there was additional hardscape, and I think you said something about that. Is that gonna be?
Yeah, so we'll note that, and, we just hope that it will be de minimis. It's still going down on the site, net, and, but we'll give you a little chart outlining how that happened, and there'll be then on notice, not to increase it ever without coming back.
Can I hear a motion to accept the COC pending the letter of,
Make it.
Jack, anybody second?
Second.
Got that? Second by Ellie. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nay? Yeah, okay, so it's
All right, appreciate you guys working with us. I know it's,
6 to 1. Okay, thank you.
thank you for your time.
So Paul does not sign this, correct?
He actually can if he wants to. Dan, just so you know, we're going to be voting on site plan requirement updates, and I will send that to all of our people who file with us if it gets approved.
Excellent.
The next two COCs have no issues, so we're going to approve them together. The second one will have ongoing conditions, but,
State which
what?
ongoing condition number 16 for 41 Standish
41
Way.
Standish Way.
Yeah.
So I'll read those in. SE 83, 1153, CIE, Richard and Carol Dove, 22 Driftwood Lane. And SE 83-856, Martin Dugal, 41 Standish Way, to approve the COCs with ongoing conditions for the Standish Way. Anybody want to?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Jack, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. No one's opposed. Thank you. Okay, so our next, we're gonna go to a continued notice of intent, SE 83-2494, Cape Cod Engineering for PRJ Resorts, Blue Water Resort Owner LLC, 291 and 301 South Shore Drive. Proposed seasonal deck on a coastal beach velocity flood zone and National Heritage Habitat. It's continued from 12/4/25. And I believe we have a speaker. So would you like to introduce yourself and
Yes.
go from there?
Thank you. I am Bob Perry, Cape Cod Engineering, working with the Blue Water Resort. I missed the date in your introduction. It's been some months since we were before you. So
Great.
thank you for accommodating a very long series of continuations. I think, just to summarize that, of course, the ownership changed over there back in 2023 or so. And I think some of the beach management relationship with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, I think some of it fell through the cracks. The organization produced some records, and in my discussions and various communications with Natural Heritage and with your staff, it seemed like a reset with NHESP would be a good thing, so that the new ownership would be fully understanding what the old ownership signed up for. And we're putting together 3 beach management plans for Red Jacket, Blue Water, and the Riviera Resort, so that you'll be seeing that. But I know this project would still have a natural heritage and endangered species requirement associated with it. Although this project is, at least we took it upon ourselves to try to frame it. It's a very simple project. It's a portable 10 by 10 wooden deck that would sit into the beach sand, be leveled up. We put in our original plan that if the commission preferred that it be anchored, that it can be readily anchored. Enough people could hand carry it, but it is delivered by a machine. They have a couple of different ways to do it. If you do recall the discussion we had, that would seem to be a pretty major concern for the commission, was if there was a storm, would this be removed? And our answer was absolutely. Today, storms are given pretty good warning. You want to know that this deck is where the beach sand is elevation 8 to elevation 9. That is a good 7 feet above the mean high tide to an extreme high tide. So it would take quite a storm to get water to this location. So that would be forecasted, and the organization would take everything off their beach. They have hundreds of people on this beach during the summer days. They have rows and rows of beach chairs, and so this would just be one more piece of hardware to manage. It's not like a single-family home where you might wonder if there would be anyone home. This is an organization that has a commitment, understands what your expectations are for them to manage this thing properly. And so the plan hasn't been changed. In the interim, we did get a letter, and it has been some time. I don't have a full recollection of if we provided you, it sounds like we do. We did get, you got your own communications with Natural Heritage. We reached out to the management, and they provided us with a letter from the folks that rake the beach that their machine is available with very short notice to move that thing out of there. So the concern for that management in our minds is, as long as it's made very clear, there's no fear, no worry about this thing being removed. And of course, when it's not deployed in the off-season, and possibly even during some periods in the summer, it would be stored. Where I saw it last, it was on the other side of South Shore Drive, on the north side of the road, with some other things that they keep there. So there are no changes to the plan, and it's a portable deck that can be anchored in the very, very remote possibility that this small deck would be left during a storm that would surcharge the elevation of that beach, which is, in my opinion, very, very unlikely. But we don't mind anchoring it. So that's where we are. And Brittany, you may have some things to add because you may remember something else about this. Plus, the rare species folks know that there's another phase coming to the main overall beach work here. Thank you.
One of the things is the beach management plan that needs to be written.
So you said that the timeline is that they want to do it before this nesting season,
We are, I think that this particular location can utilize bird monitors. I've run into some that can't. They have very, very, think of this beach as, it's a big, wide, sandy beach, and it's used by a lot of people. And I don't know the propensity of the plovers to nest here, but they can. But there are other areas, say the north side of the Cape, where these are natural areas, fully natural, with dunes, and NHESP has kind of tried to steer away from use of bird monitors, but this, I think you could have a bird monitor. So our goal, and I've just explained this to some of the management, was to file with your organization in early February, so that the hearing process for these 3 projects that were all previously approved in 2020, there's no change to the management. If there's going to be beach nourishment, we're going to be turning in the similar information that we turned in the last time, sieve tests of the existing material, and the program would be very much like, I think, identical to the 3 projects that were approved in 2020. So there wouldn't be anything terrifically new, but those permits expired, and for one, I mean, it's better, I think, rather than extend something like that on, start fresh, new management, so you'll be seeing those probably within 3 weeks.
So I do want to mention that this is a variance, so we understand that. Go ahead.
So the platform itself is going to be permitted, and you have a permit, you'd label it with a permit number and all. Is there some load restriction on it that can be identified so the thing doesn't sink and do damage or what have you?
No, it's a,
I mean, yeah,
if you've ever taken any kind of a frame and just set it into the beach sand, this is set up for probably 3 people to be on it.
oh, yeah,
So the load is relatively light for its area.
right. I just don't want, I heard you previously say it's a very popular beach, 200 people or whatever. I just don't want this thing to be, I just thought it would have some kind of restriction on it for use or load to prevent it.
Right, it's not elevated. That's one of the things about it. It's just sitting on the sand.
What will prevent people during the day,
Yeah,
and your kids during the day, sitting and playing and jumping and doing all that stuff?
yeah.
Nothing except perhaps a sign, but I don't see it as representing a danger. It's, could be just a, if you see it, it has a perimeter step, and it'd be something for someone to sit on. We did have a photo of it on the plan. You can see it. Oh, did it not show up? I have it.
It's not coming up. Sometimes it doesn't load.
Right.
You guys want to see it?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else have questions? Paul?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. It's been so long since we talked about this, but what's the dimension of it?
10 by 10.
10 by 10? And also,
No, it's 12 by
By
12.
Oh, sorry. See, even I forgot. Thank you. The step is at 1 foot around the perimeter. So the deck is 10 by 10.
oh, then you step
The
up
the
on.
one step is,
Yeah, that's
adds a
fine.
foot, adds 2 feet, actually.
Okay, thinking about, you talk about the fact that, the possibility of a storm is certainly there, but it's pretty far, it's elevated on the beach far enough away to have to be a really kind of a significant storm. But what's the documentation or the management practice at this facility to remind folks of what they need to do in the event of a storm? Is there a document that they have that they reference when, let's say, a storm is coming? Is that in place? Because so often, stuff like that is forgotten, and all of a sudden, we forgot to move it, and it goes through the window of the hotel.
Well, I have some long-term familiarity with these locations. I know that the organization that owns this acquired a number of resorts on the south side and also the Wauquasit Inn in East Harwich. Some people would say Chatham, but it's East Harwich. And it's a professionally run organization. If you've gone there in the summer, you'll see many folding chairs, beach-type chaises, occasional nets. I just think that with appropriate management and the understanding that you really just have to say it's self-preservation. They don't want to lose the things that they have.
I understand that, but the thing is that, do they employ some sort of a checklist, do you know?
I
Like
don't know
a storm's
that.
coming, so
I would presume
This
it.
is what we need to do.
Well, if approved, they'd have an order of conditions, but very few people, know that, it's recorded. I just think that it can readily be mandated, but it strikes me that the organization would not abandon their facilities in the event of something like a hurricane or a tropical storm.
Okay,
I can
thank
make
you.
a suggestion, Paul, for the other permits for raking and beach nourishment. We've had preseason meeting requirements, and we can add a preseason meeting requirement for this in the event that it's likely that the rake person who is employing the rake is the same person who's going to be responsible for removing the platform.
That's what I'm told.
And
We
I
had a
can-
letter from them.
Yeah, so I can have a meeting with the person who rakes, and if you'd like, have someone from management present at that preseason meeting as well, to make sure they understand the requirements.
What I worry about is as time marches on, David referenced before the trees, we're not gonna be around so whoever's managing it now might not be there in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and this thing is
Yeah.
sitting there. And all of a sudden, nobody remembers that, hey, a storm is coming, so we have to take it in.
That's the
The other
glory of a
thing, my other
pre.
concern,
yeah.
my other thought, maybe it's not a concern, I know it's anchored. You mentioned something about maybe you think the anchoring is superfluous, but the thing is, I think it's a requirement, okay?
Yeah.
And how difficult will it be to take those anchors out and move that thing? Do you have any idea?
Well, I believe they're going to be hand-installed. They're not complicated or heavy-duty helical anchors. They're hand-twisted with a bar. It would just be something that would have to be done before you can take the thing away. And I see it as being pretty similar to clearing all the deck chairs off the beach. And just a proper housekeeping step that they would need to do.
I would hope so, but the
Yeah.
thing is,
I-
sometimes it doesn't happen.
I would kind of expect it of a well-run place to, take good care of their things. And-
I agree, but the thing is, looking down the road and
Right.
something sits on the beach, and I know it's taken up in the wintertime and everything, but someone might forget, so I just
Understand.
wanted to know if there was something
Could I,
in place that reminds folks of what needs to be done.
well, could I introduce the point that there are, 80 chairs or 100
There could be.
plus this, so that they have these out on the beach?
Yeah.
And, if they don't remove them all, and they have to do that during every storm, so.
Okay, all right, just wondering.
I think it'd be pretty safe that it be properly managed, especially if it is reiterated to the organization through the process. Best we can do sometimes.
Yeah, see all those,
Yeah, I think two of the things, if, Brittany, just show where where it's going.
Let me fast
Showed me
forward to
that the
this
other
here.
day.
You can
So
see
the
it.
platform is proposed for here.
And Brittany and I talked about it when we met the other day, about what is a significant storm, and we would think at the very least, it's when the National Weather Bureau issues a watch or a warning, they need to go out and do their, and we're gonna put that, I would suggest we put that in our conditions, so it isn't like a hurricane or a, coming up the coast. It could be that last, when I lived in Western Mass, we would have great thunderstorms that we would only have maybe a half hour to have that warning. And that doesn't seem to happen as much down here, but we all know those things do happen. So I would suggest we put that in our conditions, that when the National Weather Bureau issues a watch or a warning, they need to take things up, even though it could be a sunny sky in there at the beach, but thunderstorms could be coming with high winds. Anybody else? Concerns or questions?
no.
No? Anything you want to say, Brittany?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay, just let me read my notes. Oh, there are a couple things I do have just concerns about. One is people during concerts sitting on the dune and making sure people stay off the dune, and making sure people respect if there are plovers or anything else that,
Typically, there's some snow fence lining that dune.
Okay,
And we're going to be, again, submitting a plan. So if there's a need to cordon off the dune, that can be incorporated into that plan.
yeah, okay. So the beach management plan that the National Heritage required, what would be a good time span for that?
We're gonna do their NOI for raking in February, so it'd be the same beach management plan, correct?
That's it, and it
Yeah.
will unfold at the end. We submit early February, you get a first meeting
Okay,
late February and probably wrap up.
that's much better than my March date, okay, good. So anybody else, does anybody have a problem with the variance here? Yes, go ahead.
I do. I just don't see this being conducive to the environment whatsoever, and it opening up a can of worms as far as use and destruction and disturbance. What am I missing here? I don't see this as a positive installation at all. Help me with that, someone. Am I just, what am I missing?
Can I offer a couple of things?
In what
I
way
mean, I
would
could-
it be more
I just don't know.
detrimental than normal beach recreation?
I think it increases the use of, like, occupancy, obviously, and partying maybe, and just disturbance that wouldn't be there otherwise. I don't,
This is,
No, what
see those chairs out there?
yeah, yeah,
Those are all people
yeah,
wandering around all summer long,
right.
and I
then
don't
we're
see,
adding to it, though, aren't we?
well, that little square, I wouldn't argue that that is adding to that. If there are birds there, then yes, I would worry about that.
I would argue that the beach raking has more of an impact than this would.
Mm-hmm,
Beach what?
The beach raking.
Breaking.
good point.
This is just for entertainers to be able to have a platform when they perform.
Yeah, and it's small. It's a triplet, probably jazz, but it takes it down to the beach level. I think and I don't want to get into acoustics, but I know that there was some discussion about if it was elevated up on the top of the seawall, it just broadcasts the sound off toward the resort that's off to the west. It's probably some slight diminishment of the sound by keeping it down nearer to the people that are enjoying it.
Anybody else? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the,
To issue, actually, you didn't go to the audience or Zoom for
oh, I'm
comments.
sorry, you're right. I'm so used to now the COC going first. Anybody in the audience have a comment? Anybody online have a comment? Raise your hand, please. I don't see anybody. Nobody in the audience? Now may I move ahead?
No, you can.
Thank you. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the,
I'll do
issue
that.
the NOI?
Issue the order of conditions.
Isn't it a variance?
And yeah, it would include issuing the order of conditions with a variance and special conditions that we've discussed.
I do.
So moved, okay, second. Paul? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? Okay, so passes 6-1.
Well, with your help, it's been carefully planned, so I think it'll do well, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for bearing with all the continuations, too. It's worth noting. Try not to do that again. Night.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a 5-1 because
Yeah,
Christian
Christian
can't
didn't vote.
I don't sign, I guess, or how does that work?
You can, but you don't.
You vote on the Bayview?
Yes, did you? You can, yeah. Bradford, did you review the minutes for the Bayview Bogs?
I read the minutes, but I didn't watch the video.
The minutes is fine, if you're comfortable, but it's up to you.
I'm not comfortable.
Okay, that's fine. Good to know.
And I signed my,
You did. You gave me your.
give it to you already. Okay, so the next is the SE 83-2508, Fuss and O'Neill for Mark Forest, Cape Cod Conservation District, and Michael Jones Cape Cod Hospital, Bayview Logs, proposed ecological restoration by restoring tidal flow of former cranberry bogs with boardwalks and sitting areas within Island Bank, bordering vegetative wetland, riverfront area, land under water body, salt marsh, coastal bank, and land subject to coastal storm flood.
So last time we continued for a DEP comment for a revised bridge plan, which they've provided. They've elevated the bridge over the crossing and to review the drafted special conditions. There were some requests for edits in the special conditions. Most of them were made, and a couple of them just wanted to have a quick discussion with the commission about. They requested we usually require no refueling or washing on site or outside buffer zones. They requested the opportunity to wash and refuel on site in approved staging areas. And I added with proper containment. I don't think that's an issue as long as everything is properly contained. And there was a question about a certified ecological restoration practitioner is required on the supervisory staff. They wanted to make sure that wasn't for the contractor implementing the work, and it was okay that they have one on staff for the design team, which will provide oversight. So if everyone had a chance to read those and if they want to discuss, otherwise the revised plan met all of your requirements from last time.
Anybody have any questions or concerns?
Well, I'd like to be sure that it's not just a platform out there or some, rug or something, but something with sides
Yeah.
that would actually contain the amount of gasoline or whatever it is they're putting in there completely, so that there wouldn't be any chance of it going off.
Would you like to see the containment strategy before they start construction? Because they don't have a strategy right now. It would just have to be proper containment, as is a standard.
Could we approve it with your approval pending your approval of the containment? Or do you want us to?
That's fine. I think it's a standard, an industry standard.
I've got a couple of companies that I copied off.
I'm sorry?
I got a couple of companies I copied off their containment methods. But I
Okay.
think they're good enough.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry about it if you approve it.
They also said the contractor team would provide a spill prevention plan to be approved.
What they usually have is like a platform that a truck would drive up to be refueled, and they would have, as Jack says, some sort of a barrier around the edges of it. Is that what you typically use in general?
I guess typically, but we just usually blanket don't allow it within the resource area or buffer zones, just
Blanket it?
because of the site constraints. They're requesting the ability to do so.
What would
We
be,
never,
No place
Yeah.
what
for
would be the
it, off-site.
option if we said no, and how would they do it then?
With difficulty, I guess. Julie is online to answer any questions. Yeah, it would probably just delay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you.
Christian's
They'd
the
probably have to
expert.
drive off and come back on site, which would probably just waste more resources and maybe even increase the likelihood of something happening.
Well, but we don't know the rate of refueling and things, and how much we're talking about, 50 gallons, 2,000 gallons? Do we have any answer to that?
I can give some insight, yes. So typically, the way that this would work for a project of this size, we would anticipate that the contractor will have a fuel tank on site that would be double walled and have built-in secondary containment. And they would have a fuel truck come on site to refuel that tank, potentially once or twice per week, I would guess. And then the various equipment would refuel directly from that tank. And so we're asking that they be allowed to do that within the staging area, as far as possible from the resource area, but recognizing that pretty much all of the staging areas are within the buffer zone. So there really isn't room to do that outside of the buffer.
So you're not talking about refueling, you bring a tanker in, you refuel some equipment. You're talking about storing it on site, which is not, I had not heard that.
There would be, yes, they would be seeking approval to have a tank on site, which is
I
standard for this type
disagree
of
with
work.
That's, should never happen.
The equipment typically has to be fueled every day, at least once. And so you would have a lot more trucks coming in and out if they weren't allowed to have storage on site.
I'm sorry, my father was a distributor of gasoline, so I'm interested in finding how much you're talking about. Gas, number of equipment?
I would anticipate that they would have probably at least 3 machines on site at any given time. It'll depend on how they plan to sequence the work, but they would likely have 1 or 2 excavators as well as a truck moving material around the site at minimum.
And this would be just for the construction of the area. Once you're done, it's all gone, correct?
Yes, of course. This is just during construction.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
So I saw, 2 staging areas in the plan. One of them is in the existing parking area that you're proposing to improve. And the other one is at the end of Bayview Road, where there's a lot of utility work and storage on that sandy area with a large shoulder. I would recommend to the commission that the fuel be stored at the parking lot only if you decide to approve that, and not the end of Rosetta Street. Does that work? Julie?
Rosetta Street is certainly easier to access without, it's directly contiguous to the existing farm road, and so that would be the main path equipment would be using.
Okay.
I think there would actually be more traffic over resource areas to get to the parking lot. I anticipate that the parking lot will be the primary staging area for all of the therapeutic landscape work, but that Rosetta Street would be the primary staging area for the majority of operations.
And equipment storage, okay.
Correct.
So you wanted to say something, Christian?
Yeah, how large of a tank are we talking about here?
That is a good question. If you give me a moment, I can reference back to a similar project and see what they had in their spill prevention plan. I can tell you sort of dimensionally what it looked like, but I don't happen to know how many gallons that translated to off the top of my head. So I think that tank was approximately, I would say at most it was maybe 4 feet wide by 6 feet long and maybe 4 or 5 feet high.
So that's about
It's about a fuel.
500 gallons.
It may have been a 500-gallon tank. That sounds
And how
probably
much
likely.
off the ground? Are they going to put it on the ground and pump it into the truck, or are they going to use gravity?
No, it would be sitting on the ground.
Which means that probably you have more chance of spillage.
And it's a question, if there is a spill, I'm sure you have a contingency plan for that. Could you describe that, please?
So if we would ask the contractor as part of the construction documents prior to construction, they would be required to provide a spill prevention plan for reuse, or I'm sorry, for approval. And that would to be approved by the designer, but it could also be required that it be approved by the commission. And typically when I'm reviewing a spill prevention plan for a project like this, I'm looking for secondary containment, spill kits, procedures for how they're going to be refueling, approving the specific locations. So it would have all of those elements available for review prior to establishing any of the fueling operations.
We don't have that now, right? We've never, this is, okay, so that's what would definitely be required, as part of the construction logistics, make it clear that it would be removed as well, and what provisions would be made for removal and restoring back to where it was.
Some of the issue is not just, large spills, but daily use spills, or, so it's a matter of being able to contain everything, all the way from just minor single gallon, to, 50 gallon, oh, my tank split, or whatever.
And the tank itself, all modern tanks, I believe, are required by law to have built-in secondary containment. So the tank itself is double-walled and has provisions for any kind of damage to the inner holding area.
Well, my father never had any of that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a more modern requirement.
Christian, do you have any issues?
I don't. I would like to see this bill plan though.
I want to review that at a hearing before implementation.
Yes.
That would be perfectly reasonable and acceptable.
What was that last thing?
The commission would like to review the spill prevention plan at a hearing prior to implementation of the project.
All right, just one final, I don't know if it's a question or comment. This must be pretty common to do at sites like this. Do you have any information about how successful the type of arrangement that you're proposing is in other locations? Are there problems that we should be concerned with, or have things been kind of perfected to the point where typically fuel is not spilled and there is containment of any kind of at least a minor spill?
Yes, I would say this is standard procedure. So I referenced the Windswept Bogs project in our last hearing, which was recently completed on Nantucket. We had a similar situation where the truck actually had to drive further into the site to reach the tank. So the fuel tank came deeper into the site to fill the tank. We never had any issues with that, and we never had any issues with any spills associated with refueling of equipment either. So that worked very well. Certainly when we are selecting contractors, we're reviewing qualifications, we're reviewing references, and so we're looking for folks who have experience with both restoration and working in sensitive resource areas. And I would say that for any reputable restoration contractor, this is standard practice.
Okay, thank you.
I would offer also that we put in a condition that somebody is constantly there during refueling and at the pump, so he could shut it off immediately if something happened, overflow or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that's I would say also standard to be included in the spill prevention plan and refueling procedures.
Okay.
Anybody else? Brittany, you want to add anything?
Just for the other requirement that I brought up, Julie, how often is your team going to be on site providing the oversight for the project? Because the SERP is currently on your team, right? It's you.
Yeah, it would be from our team. I would anticipate that we would be on site at least weekly to discuss the operations for the week and what's going to be going on. Some weeks it would be more frequent. It'll depend a bit on exactly what operations are happening during what's expected to be done over the course of that week.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, I would recommend to the commission that it's fine to have the SERP on the supervisory team, not on the contractor team. They're very far and few between in Massachusetts, and it would be difficult for them to get a contractor with those qualifications.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? Any comments? No? No? See lots of head nodding, but nobody wants to say anything. Okay. Anybody else online? Okay. I don't see anybody, so can I hear a motion? We're going to continue then, right? No?
No.
We're going to accept pending and then have a second hearing?
No, we would be issuing the order of conditions with the special conditions as we just discussed.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we approve this contingent on having a plan for the for the spillage and also the removal, restoration of this tank and duration as it relates to the construction. And of course, the special conditions as well.
Anybody want a second, please? Christian, second?
I'll second that.
Okay, great. Get your name in the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Have to sign this, too.
This one will look a little different. It's a restoration order. Just make sure you sign in the right spot.
Say that again?
It's a restoration order of conditions, so it looks a little different than what you're used to seeing.
Oh, okay. Bradford couldn't vote, right?
Bradford did not vote yes.
Yes, that's 6-0.
Have I your pen?
Okay, next, jump a little bit, request for determination of applicability.
File.
J.M. O'Reilly and Associates for Long Pond Holdings, 236 Long Pond Road, proposed Title V septic system upgrade to replace existing cesspools in the buffer zone to a pond.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
You would introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm John O'Reilly. I'm engineer working with the landowner. We're here tonight hopefully for a very simple septic upgrade. The 3-bedroom house that sits very close to the edge of Long Pond is currently being served by, or was being served by 2 cesspools. Proposal is to simply remove those, abandon those cesspools in place, and then install a Title V septic system. No expansion is proposed for the house. The owner is planning to do some interior remodeling, and I know he has worked with staff recently about taking down some trees and some trimming around the house, but, so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions, thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, yeah, I do. Hi, good evening. Okay, so there's no expansion of bedrooms or living space with the project at this time or in the future, or is it, you have a statement here that there is no expansion of bedrooms or living space with the project, is that?
That's correct. So he's planning to, obviously the house has some age to it, so he's refurbishing the inside, but he's not changing
Anything,
roof
right.
line, volume, or footprint.
And the other question I had is the existing, let me just check my notes. You have 2 existing cesspools, and are they, one is tied into stormwater, and the other one looks like it's just abandoned, and filled with clean sand. Is the one that is left for stormwater treated differently, or is that?
No, actually, I'm sorry for the conflicting note. Both cesspools, I think, are being planned to be dealing with the roof runoff.
Oh, they both are now?
Both are,
Okay.
yes.
And so what is the treatment for that then?
The cesspools are gonna be filled with gravel, or
Gravel, not
one of them
sand.
has been filled
Okay,
with gravel. The second one will also be filled with gravel,
okay,
and then the pipe leading into it.
okay. So when, you'll need to correct that note 17 on your
I will.
construction notes. That's all I have, thank you.
Well, runoff from the roof is, where does it go?
Where does it go now?
And
Directly under the ground now. As part of the remodel, I believe there's going to be either gutters improved or replaced, and then connected to the connected to the cesspools.
To the new cesspool?
No, well, there's 2 existing cesspools on the property.
So you're gonna fill it, but you're gonna have the roof.
That's right. They're gonna act like dry wells at this point.
So you're comfortable with the amount of space that's gonna be left once it's full of gravel, that it can hold what?
It certainly would give you more capacity than your normal 30-inch lawn drains that everyone likes to put in for dry wells. Yes, I'm not concerned about the capacity.
Well, you're so close to the pond that once that, it's gonna drain off into the, that's gonna be, 15 feet maybe to the pond?
Well, in horizontal distance, you're close to 40 feet from the pond.
On that, and that's the,
It's the closest cesspool. It's about 40 feet back from the pond.
so it's not the one that your plan points to?
No, as just was said, the two cesspools will be utilized for the roof runoff. I have a conflicting note that doesn't say that, so I need to fix that, but the two cesspools will be used for dry wells.
Both cesspools?
Yes.
Are you thinking, Jack, or are you?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm wondering, I guess the water coming off the roof isn't that dirty, huh?
Either way, it is an improvement to the existing conditions to have some sort of stormwater treatment versus none,
Yeah.
and a Title V instead of two cesspools.
Okay, I'll turn off my light.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Anybody else? Okay. What do we need to vote on?
Yes, I would recommend a -3 for this project.
Motion, please, for the -3.
So moved.
Second, somebody?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That's 236 Long Pond. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next one is SE 83-2493, JM O'Reilly and Associates for Irene Holmes, 1 Parsonage Point. You know, I forgot to ask people if anybody, we do that for,
Yeah, you could just ask now.
does anybody in the audience have anything about 236 Long Pond Road? I apologize, I forgot to ask. Okay, now we'll,
And anybody on Zoom?
anybody online, raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay. Don't see any hands raised. Okay, now we can go on. Apologize for that. What happens when you take 7-week vacation? All right, SE 83-2493, JM O'Reilly Associates for Irene Holmes, 1 Parsonage Point, proposed in-grade stairs in buffer zone to a bordering vegetative wetland and natural heritage habitat.
Good evening. Again, John O'Reilly with Irene Holmes, the homeowner. We were here in August for a set of elevated stairway down a footpath to get to Alicia's Pond. Mrs. Holmes enjoyed her activity, and she needs some surer footing to get down the slope to the pond. So you were kind enough to give her an order of conditions for an elevated set of stairs. It is a structure in the, it's a structure in the eyes of the zoning board, and they did not grant relief to the setback variances that we needed. So we cannot do an elevated boardwalk here. So we're back hoping that the commission would look at an in-ground set of steps, which consist of landscape timbers that would be dug into the slope. We're not in the resource, we're buffer zone work, but we are within the 50-foot buffer. They would be dug into the slope. The slope on the pathway would be modified to provide smooth transition from step to step. We do call out some gravel for the backfill of the steps, and it provides drainage so we can mitigate potential washout. And so what I've done with the plan, I've basically included those improvements. It's a very similar footprint than what was approved originally. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Ms. Holmes is here to also answer any questions that you may have.
Go back to the zoning board?
In-ground steps are not considered structure,
Okay,
so we don't need to deal with any type of zoning relief or zoning approval.
so if we approve this, it's ready to go.
We certainly hope so.
Just gonna check my notes.
About 2 feet of this, there's in natural heritage. Did you submit to them?
We did.
Okay. And so I would recommend the commission approve this amendment request pending receipt of Natural Heritage's notes. I doubt they will have anything different to say. But as long as you're okay complying with, if they have notes.
Yeah, I mean, I would love an approval contingent on that.
Okay.
That's typically not how it's done on new hearings, so that would be wonderful, and then we would certainly comply with whatever conditions they set forth.
Yeah,
They had no conditions on the previous application.
Yeah, the only thing you'd miss then if we approve pending is the opportunity to discuss those natural heritage requirements. So,
So you're accepting them no matter what they say?
yeah, they didn't really have anything to say originally,
No-
so.
No real, and quite frankly, we're realigning the pathway onto our panhandle, and that is smack dab in the middle of their resource, so, or their area, and they had no comment.
But
So
we're-
I'm comfortable with that condition.
Okay.
We're still missing the seed mix.
Well, now that they, sorry, that was a leftover note from last time. They were proposing some disturbance and they would seed. But now that the area will be filled with gravel, and I'm sure there'll be limited disturbance on the side of the timbers, right?
Yeah, there will be some disturbance.
Okay.
And I would be fine with the seed condition.
Okay.
We do call out for, I think we actually call out for some erosion blankets to be available in case.
Just in case. Yeah, that would be fine.
So I'd be fine with
In the case of disturbance.
case of a disturbance for that seed mix.
Yeah.
Because there will be some disturbance, I mean, obviously, so.
On the side, yeah.
They don't, neither of the neighbors live there. They live off Cape, they're only here occasionally, not even 3 weeks a year. So they're not around that often.
Anybody else, Paul?
Yeah, I don't remember when he came in last time, I recommended a zip line, but he didn't want to do that again.
That may be the third attempt.
It's unfortunate that they didn't approve that walkway, that structure down to the,
I turned 100 last week.
Happy birthday.
God love you.
you know, what the heck.
You're okay with those 17 steps though, right?
Yeah.
I have steps to my house.
Okay.
And I can do with a railing, that's
Yep.
why I said to him, it has a railing on it.
Yep, it
Then I can
does.
do that up and down. I try not to ever take steps without
Holding on.
to something.
Yeah, one hand always on something.
So this construction, will it have a handrail going?
There is a
Oh,
single
okay.
handrail, it's a 4x4 post with a single 2x4, just something for, just for secure, safety.
All right,
And
thank
it's
you.
only on one side.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah, it does seem like this is an issue more with conservation's regulations and zoning board's regulations. Joe provided a comment to the zoning board that in-ground stairs would have a greater impact to our resource area than the approved above-ground steps.
Yeah.
So it is unfortunate that because of zoning, we're now considering having a greater impact to our resource areas because of something out of our control. I just wanted to put that out there.
I agree with you, yes.
I would disagree, but okay.
Do you have anything else to add?
No, I agree with Bradford. It's frustrating that we have conflicting regulations. I'm sorry, it led to a delay in your project.
Anybody in the audience? Comments? No? Anybody online? I see a hand. Can't read the name, but I see a hand.
Timothy Walsh.
Timothy Walsh?
Yes, hi. I'm the neighbor that Irene is speaking of. And it's true. I have nothing personal about Irene or any of this. It's just, all this is within a 10-foot strip that's 15 feet from my house. And it's true that I do not live there, but I'm 64 and I may live there soon. And so my concern is not with Irene at all, or her enjoyment of the pond. My concern is that a future homeowner may this might be used as a Airbnb for the house, so weekly rentals and people coming down. I know that is not the concern of the Conservation Commission for the traffic that may be on that staircase. But since it was brought up by a couple of people in the commission about the unfortunateness of that other staircase not being approved, I feel it's appropriate for me to say the reason it wasn't approved was that that commission agreed with my concern about privacy and future use of that path, of that staircase. And that's why I'm really commenting here. If this staircase doesn't need a building permit, then the commission's vote is the final vote. But since it was brought up, I felt like it would be appropriate for me to mention the things that I've just mentioned.
Okay, thank you. Anybody, I already asked the audience, so can I hear a motion to accept? So moved, Paul?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Opposed.
Did you say opposed?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a 6-1 vote.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, oops, pass that on. All right, the next one is also SE 83-2509. Again, J.M. O'Reilly and Associates for Paul and Nancy Cruz. 4 Glenwood Street, proposed deck expansions, addition, shed, sand nourishment, invasive species management, a velocity flood zone and buffer zones to a salt marsh and coastal bank. We received a letter asking to continue to February 5th. So could I hear whether there's a motion to continue this?
So moved.
So moved, a second? Second,
Second.
Christian? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Say, what was the date?
February 5th,
February 5th.
next meeting.
All right, we need approval of meetings minutes from 11:06 and 12:18. I think we have to take them separately. 'cause-
Separately, for 11:06, the only people present were Dave, Pat, Jack, Ellie.
Okay, so Dave,
Did
Pat,
watch
Jack,
the
Ellie.
video on that one, but
You weren't there.
So, could Dave, Jack, Ellie, and Pat, one of you, move to accept the minutes from that day?
I move to accept the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second it.
from 11:06, okay,
Okay.
the 4 of us, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's done.
Great.
And 12:18, I can't vote, and Bradford can't vote, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so somebody else want to move to accept the minutes from 12:18? Ellie?
Move to accept, yes.
Second. Christian, okay, all in favor? All those?
Aye.
Okay. Those are the good ones. Okay. Now, we have, what to do with it?
Planning drawing requirements.
Right, but I can't find my copy. I had it earlier.
Here.
You reviewed these in November, before the holidays.
Right.
And I just clarified based on the discussion we had and made what you have in front of you. I've noticed I forgot to add a total line in the table, so that I would, if you guys have anything to discuss on the plan and drawing requirements, please do so. Note that I will add a total line in the table.
Okay. Anybody want to, I know we talked about this already once.
Yeah, it would just be the final approval because we made
Right.
revisions.
I'll give her a copy of my notes. This is small things. There is a, just on the immediate abutters,
Yes.
I presume that's saying that you aren't going to consider people across the street. Is that what that means?
That's correct.
And the contour lines, that 2 foot, that's a standard also, right?
That's a standard. We didn't change that one.
And linear measurements above that E.
Yeah. We didn't change that either.
What does pertinent mean?
Pertinent structures, so if there's like a shed 240 feet away from the coastal bank, I don't need to know the distance to that shed. I want to know the closest structures. So I could put closest structures or closest proposed structures, but even on the as-built plan, I want to know the distance from the resource area to the house. But if there's like something else I don't need to know that's further away, I
So
could put closest structures and
essentially you go
proposed.
to the regulations themselves and know that, what that was referring to.
Yeah, the project engineer should know what's pertinent. And if it's missing, I'll ask for it. But it should be clear what's relevant to the project.
Makes sense.
And then on K, all structures, surfaces, hardscape, material noted, meaning they're gonna tell you whether it's wood or whatever.
Yeah, so often we see driveway. I need to
Why
know.
not the rest of them?
I guess the material would be noted for hardscape walls, fences, is what you're saying?
Yes, that only refers to surfaces and hardscapes.
All right, I'll put it at the end of the sentence with materials noted.
Okay.
Is that better?
What, I'm asking what you want.
No, I think that's that's
Makes
better.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
To the end of the sentence it goes.
Spelling, only one spelling.
Yeah, Ellie pointed that one out to me already.
Et cetera.
Yes.
It must be the initials
Oh,
of
or
the firm.
that Joe. Typo.
Anything else, Jack?
Paul's up.
I'm sorry. Stormwater must be contained on site. Is that-
Is that a comment or a question?
That's in the regulation, right?
Yes.
I was just thinking back of fuel oil spills. Ecological and wetlands restoration projects must be designed and implemented.
Yes, so the implementation does require the wetland specialist.
And I recommend that you create planting plan, you put it into a list rather than a sentence of things that are, you know.
The long sentence is just the qualifications. That's why it's
Sorry?
the long sentence.
Yeah.
That's just the list of acceptable qualifications. You want me to listify
I
that?
think it's easier for people to see what's.
Okay.
So I'm ready to vote.
Anybody else?
Paul, you have a question?
Yeah, I just on the planting plans, that's all new to this.
The planting plan section is new.
Yeah, what I wonder about, and it's, I think generally a good idea, but what kind of expense does it add to the application, or to the homeowner or the property owner's,
The
process
majority,
of applying for things or having them approved? Do you have any idea?
we've confirmed that the majority of the people who file with us often have someone of these qualifications on staff. So it wouldn't have them have an increase in price.
Do they always utilize, like, say it's Down Cape Engineering or somebody?
Yeah,
Do
Down
they
Cape and
always
BSC.
utilize a professional for their planting plan?
They don't currently, but I would like them to, and they both have the capacity to in their current staffing.
So that applies, I use Down Cape, but I could, any of the,
Yeah, most of them do. If they don't, there's many of them on the Cape locally who are available to do so.
yeah, I guess I'm, sensitive to, fees and things like that, and if this is gonna make it more expensive, I kinda, you're not giving me a number, you probably
Yeah.
can't.
I can't.
But if it's like another $3,000 to have a planting plan established, that might be kind of onerous for some people who have a relatively small project.
Yeah, that's
And-
why we included the size limit, and also all of the requirements in here, you have the ability to waive at any time. So if there's a project that is, I was saying to Christian, he asked about the same thing, if it's 280 square feet and I review it, I can tell them, you don't need a professional to sign this, it's sufficient. So the exceptions can always be made to the general rule, but we put this in because we're experiencing most of the submittals are insufficient because they're created by people who don't have experience with creating planting plans, and they do eventually cause the plants not to match the habitat. They die, they have to be replaced anyway. That incurs an additional cost as well. So we're just trying to improve the quality of the planting plans we receive for both us and for the applicant and their success for the project.
I'm 100% confident that you have every good reason to make this recommendation. Again, I'm just looking at the potential cost to the applicant, and
Yeah.
maybe
No, I
there's no
understand
way
that.
around it. Okay, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree.
Is there any type of stat that shows like how many times a homeowner would be under 250 square feet, rather than over and would need?
So this, yeah, I guess this would hit for most large notice of intents. But most RDAs and small projects for notice of intents wouldn't hit this requirement. But that's where we want to see the most professional planting plans, is for those big areas. We can make the space larger initially.
But I think at our discretion, I think allows us to already do that, right?
It does, yeah. You can always waive it as
Guess
needed.
I would just look and see, how many properties fall in each category and get a better feel for what type of projects
It'd be tough to do that.
would it, I don't know.
I think also there are a number of times we've had to delay, continue things because we didn't accept the plan because it wasn't inadequate. And this might move us along quicker, which would save money for the homeowner.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So we might move, rather than continue something, we might actually be able to approve it because everything's there.
Yeah, I get that. Again, I just know the folks,
I understand your
things are
concern.
expensive and stuff like that, so.
But I would also agree that we can change it fairly simply
Yeah.
if
Or-
we
or-
found got feedback that,
It wasn't working, yeah.
What do you mean change it very?
this rig,
Well,
the timing, the size of the things, and
Where does it say the size on this?
Under planting plans.
Oh, I see it,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned you can waive it.
Can we
but
put
should there
something
be-
about wavering on it?
Yeah, should
It's
there
in
be
there,
verbiage
too.
in there about the fact that an applicant can apply to waive the requirement?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Well, should there be something in this regulation? It says
It's in the front, yeah, so
in the front, okay. What item?
Where?
let's look for it. The commission, I guess that may waive this requirement at its discretion. I can just put may waive any of the following requirements at their discretion.
Well, it's not in there now, but you can add it. Is that what you're saying to me?
It just was too specific, so I can make it broader to apply to the planting plan section.
Where is it? I'm blind.
In bullet 1 at the end.
First bullet, the italicized, she's gonna change that to
Oh, I
refer
see.
to everything below it.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
All right, great.
Okay. Anything else?
Just a quick thing on the table. So we have the 35 to 50 and then the 50 to 100. What about the 0 to 35?
Yeah, that's not on there because it requires a variance, but I guess if they're proposing something in there,
It'd be good to know.
Yeah.
It'll point it out quicker too.
I like your note where it says variance required, so maybe if
yeah,
we include that and just say variance required underneath or something.
okay. Do you want me to add the table section to this? Or,
At the note, I think he said. Is that right?
The,
Add it to the table, or?
yeah, if we could add it to the table,
I have it at the table, okay.
the note that says
Understood.
variance required.
Okay. Can we vote on this with those corrections?
yeah,
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to accept this with the corrections?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay. Any other business?
Well, you
Oh.
add the Conservation Commission agenda, I mean, the write-up for the town annual report.
I didn't put that in the minutes, but if everyone's reviewed it, It will be
I'll just give you
submitted.
some stuff you may want to think about.
Oh, sorry, the deadline was today. It's already been submitted.
Submitted today? The day
It's
is not
in
over.
your email. It said before Thursday.
It
How
did
many
say,
ti-
it did say before Thursday. I'm sure Ellie caught whatever you have.
Yeah.
If she didn't, I might have caught
Well,
the other things.
I would really be screaming if I thought there was something no, I'm just joking.
Sorry, Jack.
There were a couple of misspellings and commas.
Yeah,
and
it was cleaned up a little.
60 had to be spelled out and things like that.
I do have another business. The Conservation Division was awarded funds from the Community Economic Development Physical Improvements Fund just this week. We were approved for $26,000 for invasive species management at potentially 5 parcels in town, and $2,000 for the funding of our annual cleanup day.
Wow, that's
So
great.
it's very exciting.
Congratulations.
They must be listening to our meetings. That's always invasive
Those
species.
select board, they really know what.
Yeah, so Megan, the community development director, presented all of the projects. She found a way to find funding for every single proposal that she received for this round. So all of the requests were funded, which is great. And so I'll be coming back with permitting for those invasive species locations. So I'll be in front of you.
And I wanted to add that if you didn't see the select board meeting, I think it was last week, they did discuss irrigation. And it's worth watching. I think it's about the 40th minute into the video. We were mentioned by at least one select board member in the letter we sent. So my feeling is they're going to be a little bit more aggressive, certainly with the warnings. I sat there and said, because they talked about sending letters out, putting something in the letters. I don't know how many of you, I don't get a letter. I just get the bill online. And so even though it says as an attachment, I never look at it. And so that concerns me a bit, that if you're a person who gets something online, you're not going to get the message. And I hope they're more aggressive, and they did talk about fines, so I don't know if you want to add anything, Mark.
Yes, I'd like to add something. First of all, I was fully supportive of your request for community preservation funds.
Thank you.
And I inform my fellow board members of the importance of the invasive species work, so I'm glad that you put that in. With respect to this, I'm glad, first of all, let me just say thank you for asking us to put this on the agenda. We talked about the water conservation at your request, and I thought we had a spirited conversation, let's say. The board was concerned that the warnings that are submitted were not sufficiently strong enough, and that we were looking for something stronger. If someone's going to get a warning in the mail, rather than just resubmit our guidelines to them, there should be something that really captures their attention and lets them know they've been reported in violation of the town bylaw. So that's something that we're looking for. We also talked about doing more signage. When you travel through Chatham or Brewster or some of these other neighboring communities, there's signage everywhere telling you that we need to conserve water. But Yarmouth hasn't been as aggressive or as prolific, let's say, as some of our other neighboring communities. So they're working on more signage. They showed us some photographs the other night of the proposed signs. So we're expecting to see more of a presence. So, but thanks for asking us to put it on the agenda. I'm glad we had a conversation about it, and hopefully we can have some impact. I do encourage people, if they want to make a complaint, to send a complaint in. If you see someone violating the bylaw, there's no harm in making a call to the water department.
And the water department did say that, call them, don't, and the 2 women who answer the phone takes down the list. I know I spoke to them at least weekly, so we had an ongoing joke after a little while. I do find that when people say, well, I have a well, and therefore I can do whatever I want, and we as a commission laugh about that, because where do you think your well water comes from? It's not a magic well. So,
Well, but the drawdown from one well to another is a big difference versus when you're like South Yarmouth, West Yarmouth, getting it out of the wells that are sprinkled all around, and yes, you may impact them there, but north in Yarmouthport, you probably don't. But I would argue that I'm a little on a, well, first of all, I'm not sure that the state is doing very well on designation of droughts, particularly for the Cape. And my experience is that 2 wells on the Cape, which is what they do, that's at least my last knowledge was that, and they're not in Yarmouth. And so I'm worried that the people may be recognizing that they use their own senses of how much water there really is. Ponds, for instance, Long Pond, I can tell that it's there is a drought because I can see how far down it's gone on the docks. And there's a couple of docks particular where it really shows up. And at first, on this last drought, I said, oh, what the heck are they talking about? And then I realized, well, my indicator dock showed that there really was an impact. But I'm still suspicious. I've had a long history in working with droughts. Well, never mind that. The point is that I just am worried about it. And I don't know how comfortable the select board is with it or the water department with how, when the state says we're in stage 2, are we really?
we could be at stage 3.
Anything.
There's
Are
no
you saying you're
harm in being more
suspicious of
strict.
whether or not we're in drought?
You don't think we have a drought?
I'm suspicious of the measurements.
Okay, but if it hasn't rained for 3 months, we're winter, it's a pretty good indication that we have a problem in
Well-
lawns burning up in every neighborhood in the town and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I'm not arguing, I'm arguing the actual scientific measurements, not what people are thinking of. And,
Well, I think we should appeal. I'm glad to hear that there are going to be signs. I had mentioned that to the water department way back. I did exactly, I was in Chatham, I saw the signs that they had. I said, well, at least that's a good idea. There's a sign out in front of DY High School, electronic sign.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways. You put signs up, there's going to be a town meeting, and right in front of the dump, everybody goes there. So there's a way to get information out there and just call upon the common sense of the public, which I think is pretty good and pretty significant, to do something, because, as I've said before, what happens is in neighborhoods, I think it causes a lot of tension when one guy got a beautiful green lawn and next door there's the Sahara Desert. So, it causes some difficulty. And so I'm glad to hear what you're attempting to do. I appreciate that.
It's
very
funny, I was really supporting, real-time signage, like at the dump, and, boy, maybe at a later date, we can take all those signs for detour for all the sewer work, but maybe we'll be able to grab those, but you do have, I know personally, we have a neighbor that's, a short, an absentee owner, so how do you notify them? The best way, I guess, with them is their home, so, I support signage, but I forgot about the, how do you reach the people that don't live there? There's a lot of that. I mean, that thing's on all the time and they're not there.
Well, that's a big problem, yeah.
And what's gonna be done if we do call the water department with a complaint?
Well,
Does the
they'll
water department-
hopefully send out a warning and maybe,
I don't think they did last year.
I don't think
Yeah,
they
but
did.
they're working on making their warnings more substantive so that they require response.
I agree with you. I don't think they did last year. I would ask that the warnings go out, and then I was like mid to late July, and they said, no, they haven't gone out yet. And that's when I stopped calling. I said, well,
Well,
I'm not gonna waste my time.
I always thought that, just like the building department does, if there's a violation of the building code, they put an orange sticker on the front of the project and say cease and desist.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I don't know the legality of any of this stuff, but if I see, if I'm in the water department, I'm driving around doing my regular work, whatever that may be, and I see a beautiful, beautiful green lawn, or even a hotel with all this stuff, why can't we take out a sticker and put it on the front door and say, listen, you're in violation of the regulations concerning watering. Please call whoever and talk about it. Make it a little bit more obvious.
Well, the warning that was provided, if I may, Mr. Chairman, yeah, the warnings that the select board were told that were provided were, I mean, there weren't many that went out, but the ones that did go out were basically submitting people the copies of the bylaw. I think you need to, if someone's gonna get a warning, they should get something that says you're getting a warning, and that you're subject to a fine if you have continued violations. It should be something that at least gets their attention, that they're violating the bylaw. I thought, my own opinion is that what we're doing is relatively weak, and there's a need to improve it. Now, that doesn't mean we have to go around and have the water police going every time, but let's start ratcheting up our awareness, our education, and our warnings. So that's kind of the message that they got, and I honestly think this issue isn't gonna go away.
No.
I think we're gonna have more complaints again. It's not, and we're gonna wanna revisit it again. And I'm gonna encourage this board, if you have comments, feel free to remind us again or let us know. I think it's refreshing that you feel comfortable sending us a letter, a memo, or some statement indicating that there's something that you're concerned about involving the community. And I think it's our responsibility to hear what you have to say and find ways to get some attention to it. So I appreciate what you've done, and like I said, I don't think this is an issue that's going away. Now, with respect to Jack's comments about the system, they're excellent comments. The problem is we're part of the state system. There's no wiggle room for us in it. We can't revise the standards. And the other thing, and some of us know this, I know Jack does, but some of the lenses in our aquifer are different than the others, right? Much of the water that comes our way is from the Sagamore lens, which is the biggest sort of underground reservoir within our sole source aquifer. It's huge. It's massive. There's an enormous amount of water that comes. And where it ends is at Bass River. The lenses that are east of Bass River, the Monomoy lens, the Chickasset lens, the Pamet lens, and then there's a lens in Provincetown called the Pilgrim lens. The Pilgrim lens is so small, and the water quality is so bad that it's very easy to abuse that water. In fact, it was probably one of the first parts of our aquifer that were abused years ago. The Pamet lens is very fragile. When I used to work in the town manager's office in Provincetown, God, in the old days, 40, 50 years ago, and Provincetown drew its water from Truro because the Pilgrim lens was insufficient. But it didn't take long to do things that would adversely impact the Pamet lens. The overpumping. Those lenses are very, very shallow, and if they're overpumped, if there's too much water being pumped from that portion of a certain portion of the lens, it can draw in salt water. You have a salt water intrusion problem. You have sodium now levels that are well in excess of what you want, and sometimes it takes difficult for that portion of the aquifer to repair itself. Sometimes it can take years or may not repair itself at all. The salt water intrusion can be permanent. So I would say that from a scientific point of view, if you look at it, yes, it would be nice to improve the drought warnings. But I honestly would argue that if we're concerned about the overall health of the aquifer, we have to be also concerned about the way in which all our municipalities are drawing water, and to what degree are the water withdrawals excessive and impactful in terms of the water supplies that we have.
Well, I think you made a perfect argument for using the Bass River, the way splitting the east versus the west, and actually then the state give us 2 designations, because the expense for repairing, let's say, changing the way you deliver water. And I have a big history in that kind of thing, and I think that the state just ignores it.
Well, if I could again respond, I think it would be nice to get to a level of sophistication in understanding how we're utilizing and potentially mismanaging our water is the direction that we should be headed in. And I would agree with you that I don't think the state pays sufficient enough attention.
Yeah.
We could be in a situation, as Paul has mentioned, where we could be in a significant drought, but the water issues might be far more serious in other parts of the Cape.
Exactly.
Where there are significant demands on a portion of the aquifer. And there may be other parts of our sole source aquifer that can handle
Exactly.
some of the demands. What would be ideal is to have a much more sophisticated science-based arrangement. But we've got a ways to go for that. And quite frankly, while it may be of interest to try to develop something on their own here on the Cape, whether or not we could get the state to even pay attention to us would be a whole other question. Because
Yes.
oftentimes, when we present these kinds of issues, it usually turns into a much greater fight and battle than anybody really has the time and energy for.
This is a fight that I probably won't be on the board, I mean, the commission certainly, but 10, 20 years as climate change happens, and they'll have to change the way they actually make reservoirs, put in, recharge groundwater in different places, and reconnect systems, connect Hyannis to us and so forth. And
Let me know when you want to put that on the agenda. Happy to come in and participate in that conversation.
well, okay.
We're talking
Hey,
baby
how are you?
steps. Who is that?
Tim?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was unmuted. Forgive me.
Okay, I think we've talked about this enough. I'd like to move, anything else?
Yeah, I have one thing on, I went to Chase Garden Creek Salt Marsh Restoration meeting the other day, and I noticed in the mitigation plan, in the new plan that, for hazard mitigation, that's not listed there. And I talked to Kathy about that, and I think that, I don't know if you or,
I'm on the project team, yeah, but we're just stakeholders right now because it's so early in the phase of design.
Yeah.
Where they're just, it's not far along enough to really be put in a plan
okay.
yet.
And okay, well, I just won't worry about it, and unless she hears us, she's not gonna do anything about it, so.
I don't think so, not yet.
So not even our report,
No.
okay.
Paul? Yeah, I just wanted to mention on January 28th in this room, there's going to be the CPC will have their public meeting. It's 3 o'clock on that day. I think Brittany is going to be there to say a few words. And also, I just want to mention, I don't know if you've talked to, meaning Brittany, Dawn Marie, about adding some things in, like the acquisition of the land up at the, near the.
Go to the
Taylor
plan, yes, yeah.
And so that, it might be something you want to come and participate in, because the CPC does an awful lot of nice things, and with a lot of support from the select board, from the community in general, so, and it's going to continue on, and there's always going to be some changes in it. So, please come. 3 o'clock, January 28th in this room. I don't think there's going to be any refreshments, so.
Well, you could bake something and bring it.
Do some baking.
I could, maybe, I'll think about that.
Okay, I'm sure you will.
All right. So, thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned at 6:50.